All right, so we've talked a lot, haven't we, about how you take data from this side, that real unstructured area, how we're kind of jiggery pokery and make a data model and do all that bit, and then serve up like a nice, consistent stream of data using our data flows. One of the things that's going to happen though is that data is going to change over time. So if you're wanting to carry on getting the insights, you're going to have to evolve your data model. Now, something's come across my desk at the minute, and I thought this is an ideal opportunity. Never want to miss a learning opportunity. I thought, let's have a look at it, let's see what you reckon, and let's crack on. All right, everyone, welcome along. Weekend work. So, those of you that remember, a while ago, right, we did this series about the COVID data set. Okay, and the point of this was really, it was about showing you that COVID's still a thing. Right? Hopefully, we're getting it more under control, but it's still a thing. What I noticed, though, is I don't know if you noticed in the news, there's a new variant apparently. What's also happening is we've now got the third jab starting to take place. So I thought, let's revisit this data set. Let's pull the third jab in so that we've got it here in our vaccination uptake data so that it all folds in. And let's do that so that our data set can carry on working and keep being amazing for us. Champion. So the first thing we've got to do, right, and this is one of the things I say to everybody, when you're doing work on a Power BI report, no matter how good your documentation and your backups are and that, and your discipline, always go and download it from the source. Okay. I've said it many times, right? Change management, data governance, all that needs to be in place, right? Reports and visualizations, especially, take them from the service. This is the biggest reason why you have your data model without any visualizations, because by separating that and having secondary reports, what it means is that your data set is going to exist in a PBIX file, and you can wrap all the data governance around that. And you can say, right, this is the data that we're going to use. This is coming from this location. It is stored here. These are the people who have access to it. Only updates can be published when it's gone through a change management process. You can do all that piece, right? Your visualizations, because people can come in, click edit here, make changes to it. It suddenly, you find that, someone made a quick tweak. Just tweak the color. And it was quicker just do it directly in there. And they add up. And the last thing you want is to change something based on a requirement from management and find that you've overwritten someone else's urgent requirement from management for change. So go in, download it, get the latest version, and start. In this case, obviously, this is a really bad example because this is a public report that I make. So everything is embedded in one file, right? But you take the point, don't you? So I'm going to download it and open it. All right, so here we are, loading up in Power BI Desktop. One of the things I've noticed is that what we really need to do is have a tweak. And I think that tweak needs to be here. When we're hovering over, we've got the on hover visual. The age brackets just don't look right, do they? It's too cluttered. Something's not right. I need to figure that out. I suspect what we're going to end up doing is doing something around the boundaries or something, but something's not right there. So what I'm likely to do, and I think the sensible thing is going to be actually just to make that tooltip bigger, which, it's one of the things people, do I want to make it bigger? Do we want to? Is it good? Is it bad? But I think to make this usable, we would need to, really, wouldn't we? I think it's that kind of a thing. So let's do that first, and then we'll crack on with the other thing. So let's start with the map tooltip here. And what I've done is I've put like a shape around it, and there's a rule set for the shape. So if it's something, it's something. If it's something, it's something else, yeah? In terms of the case rates. If it's over the national average, it's red. If it's under, it's blue. So what I'll do with this is we're going to say, actually, let's pick the page. So we have nothing highlighted. So we've just got the two options here. Let's pick format. And in the page size, we can see it's 380 by 240. So what I'm going to suggest is let's take this to 450 by 300. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. So this is going to give us the space to pull this down. And I think that works better, doesn't it? Let's drag this across and this across. And then lastly, let me grab this, drag this right across. So we've got this. This is now done. So we've got, I think that looks better, doesn't it? Yeah, it didn't take too long, wasn't too difficult. But now we need to do the important thing. Remember, I keep saying validate, right? Does this make sense as a valid change? So if we have a look back at the main view and hover over it, I don't think that's too big. Potentially we do need to do something about that border though, doesn't it? It's not off to the side fully, is it? Let's grab that. There we go. Okay, so we've now sorted that out. I think that's all should be there. Let's see. I think that does look better, doesn't it? I can see that much more clearly about what's going on. And we've got the case rate of versus national, got all sorts of things. And I think there's potentially more we can do with that statement as opposed to anything else. I think we might be able to do something else. There's things we can do, you know, there's a lot. So I like that. That's looking good. So let's see what's next. The thing I wanted to do, and the main reason for downloading this, was that we need to change this to bring in the third vaccination. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to transform data and choose to transform it. And let me bring that window in. What we've got here in this vaccination rates in particular, if we go back to the source, right, there's a key line here. So firstly, we know we're using the data flow for it. Okay. So this is one of the habits that you get into is you go, oh, what we're doing, it's a data flow. So we can go back through and we know we're going to have to go to a data flow for it. Okay. So don't be disheartened. Oh, it's a data flow. Didn't know that. Right? This is part of the journey that you need to go through and understand. And this is why we talk about, well, data flows are really useful because I'm just picking it up like a table. This could be a SQL database. So you need to go to the DBAs. You need to do something else for it. So it's not uncommon that you're going to find that you get to situations like this. It's important that we downloaded it and it's important that we're in transform data, but we need to go to the data flow now to update that bit. So let's go back to the Power BI service. Let's click on the workspace, COVID-19 versus vaccination. So we're going to click on that. I'm going to click behind the heat and edit the tables, right? And we're going to go to the vaccination rates again. So one of the things that you need to understand, if we go to the base one, we've got the base here. So what we're doing with this is bringing in a CSV file, isn't it? And one of the things that you'll find in the default settings for a CSV file when you're looking to bring it in, okay, is you will find that you have a column setting, okay? Now, the column setting, it makes sense to do, okay? But it's also a limitation. So in our case, this is set up as with a limit. And what that means is that because now the third vaccinations are coming in, it's throwing an error because the columns are all out of sync. So columns that it was expecting are no longer there. So what we can do is we can go in and we can say, right, the issue is let's remove that clause, column 15 and the comma, right? In your case, depending on your CSV that you get, it'll be different, right? But this is something, especially if you are using CSVs or another data set like CSVs, you may well find that you've got a column clause in it, right? And the natural thing is to think, well, I need to have that, don't I? Because otherwise it's not going to work, right? And the reality is you don't, right? It will work without it. So we've removed it there. We'll hit enter and you'll see it's gone on and it said, no worries, mate, I'll carry on. What we will find if we look in the final step here is I'm hoping if we scroll over here, if we look across towards the right, that we should find some of these here. So these are the new ones. It's like cumulative vaccination, third uptake, percentage, things like that, right? So these are all ones that we've now suddenly got. But by default, they're being put in as text. So these we'd want to change, wouldn't they? So percentage, we're going to put that in as we can put it in as a percentage, but I'll put it in as a decimal number, right? And we'll make all the tweaks to go through the rest as well. So there's a couple of them. So we've got this new percentage, new people vaccinated with the third vaccine. That's a whole number. And then there's cumulative number. That's going to be a whole number as well. Okay, so we've got those done. If we check now the vaccination rates, what you'll see is there's nothing really happening with this one. I think the point here was I was debating whether we're going to start to combine it and do stuff, especially with the age or with the other stuff. So base to this. In this case, we haven't done anything yet with it, but potentially we could do. But you can see everything's come through. That's fine. So I'm going to save and close this. And I'm going to remember to hit refresh now, because remember, with a data flow, it's a recipe that you've built. So you've seen data there, but that data is not really there in terms of in the data flow, in the tables that would result from it. You have to run the refresh now piece to get that. So we can sit, we can watch, and we'll wait for that to finish. All right, so we can check, we can see the refresh is finished now, yeah? Check the refresh history, completed. What that means now is that we can go in and actually check that Power BI desktop file that we've got open. So if you remember, we left this here. So if I hit refresh preview now, okay, what it's going to go and do is refresh this based on what's appeared there. Let's come through to filtered rows. We check the removed columns, not removing anything that we wouldn't want. Filtered rows. And can we see? Yeah. So we've got them here. So we've got the cumulative come through, the percentage, everything's there, right? All by age. So it's there. Great job. Brilliant. So that's another step to remember. You need to do, if you do your data flows, you need to make sure you validate your PBIX file so that the columns have come through into the model. And then when you save and close it, right, that'll be when it'll make sure that pull them through. The last thing we need to do, once these have all refreshed, is to write some measures that are going to be able to use them so that we can put them in here. Okay, so if we click here, we can see we've got the all first dose and the filtered first dose. So if we open that up, we'll see. The way I've done this, okay, is because the filtered piece uses this disconnected table set, I've got that in a different place. If you remember, one of the things I always say is if you're going to use disconnected tables or disconnected measures, so we've got here where you pick the boundary in terms of, so we can see is it above or under 30s, what are their vaccination rates. I always put all the measures that relate to that in the same place as that, if that makes sense. So the source for this drop down, which is the age select here, so we've got this boundary and the selected boundary, which is what, if we pick here, you see it's boundary, and then we've got the, is it above or below, which is here. But everything is related to the boundary in particular. So what it means is we've got this filtered first row measure. Let's zoom in on this, so we can see that, right? And we've got then the normal first dose measure. Okay, we're saying it's an average. Right? It's an average just because it's going across all the age groups. What's the average of it, what's the average vaccination rate of all the age groups? And then we do effectively something similar, but below or above, depending on what's selected. So what we need to do is we need to be able to bring in that third dose. So how do we do it? So if we just pick, second, I've just clicked on it while I was talking to you. I'm just going to Control A to select it and Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to say, let's create a new measure. I'm just going to paste it. So all third dose. Now this is one of the things that it's really important that you start to think through, because it just isn't, it's one of those, it just does not. Third here, and you can see we've got the three measures that we've got, and I think it's this. Yeah, cumulative third vaccine vaccination. Oh, yeah, percentage. Okay, we're going to hit enter on that, and that's it. Okay, because we've built this in such a way and because we've structured it in such a way, we can update our formulae this easily. And this is something you need to get your head around with DAX. Once you get into the good mindsets with it, it can become really portable, okay, and reusable. So let's do the same for the filtered. So come here, Control A, Control C. Let's go new measure. No, right. Control V, filtered, third dose. Okay. And we can see we've got here. So all we need to do really, isn't it, is just change this to third. Not third. Oh, it's not having that, is it? Let's try this. Cumulative third. Oh, injection. Third injection. Okay, so we put those in. That's now going to work for us as a third dose measure. Let's correct that. Okay, and this is one of the things that honestly variables, parameters, they do so well. They really make it simple for you to start to build your measures up and your structures up. In theory, we could even have referenced the original third dose measure, right? And that would work because we're doing an average of that. Okay. We spelt it all out in here just because I wanted it to you to understand what was going on. But it's important that you start to think through and evaluate that your DAX, even when you see a big thing like this, it's not necessarily scary, and it's something that you can piece together piece by piece and find out that you can actually do whatever it is you need. So now we've got those done. How do we go about bringing them into the visual? Well, it's not difficult, is it? So if I hover over here, I just need to bring the old third dose in and the filtered third dose in, don't I? Okay. And then what we'll find is when we click on something, hopefully third dose will start to appear. Oh, pick below. There we go. So we've now got, we can see that the third dose is starting to appear there. We'll pick the below. Okay. Colors, I need to tweak the colors for it. So that's not too much of a hassle, is it? So we select that, go to the data colors. We've got the third dose is an orange. I'm not sure if I like, well, let's leave it with the orange. Okay. So what we need to do then is the filtered third dose, just for consistency, we'll pick the light orange. Okay. That's how we've done it all. That's how it's going to be. Okay. So what we can do now is publish it. That's all we have to do. We've built it, we've done it, we publish it up, and it'll then be available. So I'll just do that now. So we're going to hit publish, save our changes. Actually, before I hit publish, one thing I need to do, remember, is not have anything selected. It's an important thing to remember. If you have anything selected, it will default to using that. So what we're going to have by default is the below 30, under 30s. That's how we had it before. That's fine for the vaccination uptake, so you can see how things are progressing. What we need to do, though, is publish it. So let's hit publish, save it. And this is in the COVID-19 data set. Select that. This is going to replace this. We're happy. We are. Why I? Let's replace it. Okay, so it's published. We can open it in Power BI Desktop. We can see what it looks like. That's looking good. Okay, once it sorts its sizes out. Then we go to the settings, checking the admin portal again. And remember, this is because we've got this set up as an embedded one so that everyone can look at it. So if we go in, we can see it's this one. If I view that on the web, is that now updated? It is. Okay, so we've now updated our fully published public report to show third vaccination uptake. So what do you reckon then? Okay, in terms of this data set, there's not a much, there wasn't a huge amount that we had to do to tweak it. Okay, but this is a reality of a data platform and of a data solution. You're going to have to go back and revisit things and understand what's going on. In terms of CSVs and the way those are imported, the way we've built this is to actually read the data set straight out off the website. That's not an uncommon option now for many analytical or for many solutions that you're going to start to report against. You can get a CSV or download a CSV from a link. So you can do that, bring the data through. Be aware of that column piece. Right? And if you want to remove it, do it yourself and validate that it works, because most data sets it does work with, some it doesn't. So you've got to be careful. What we want to do though is think about our data journey. So when we're starting to bring the data through into our dashboards, where's it gone from? How's it come through? Are we aware of changes that are going through it? What you can see with this is, because I've always said your data flows, you need to have you've got one group looking after that. That's maybe your data engineering teams that are looking at that. You can see then that there needs to be that correlation and that understanding between your data engineering teams and your data visualization teams to make sure that a data flow update flows into the Power BI report pack. And then lastly, that it's available in the visualizations and presented correctly in the visualizations. So it needs to be folded into measures like we've done here. But what you can see, and I hope you can see, is that we were able to do this really quickly and easily, and even make a quick minor tweak to make that tooltip look a little bit easier to read and be more presentable. So I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves and your families. It's nearly Christmas, man. So, have a good time. Take care. Ta-da.